I'm lucky enough to have travelled all over China, from the imperial palaces of the emperors to its brand new cities with their towering skylines that are now home to China's growing digital generation. This country has, in recent times, undergone huge change, and its people are the most connected in the world. As it's said in China, 非凡地, remarkable. China can boast of having the largest population of internet users on the planet. 650 million Chinese are connected, and there's a lot more to go. Down there in Shanghai, which is regarded as the world's largest city, there are 24 million people. At home or carrying their devices in their hands, they are the interconnected 24/7 mobile generation, and they're entrepreneurial. Two visionary entrepreneurs saw the power of these huge numbers. Back in 1998, they set out to transform China and bring it into the internet age. And they've succeeded. Their tiny QQ Penguin Tencent logo is now universally recognized in China and increasingly so around the world. Tencent has, in 2015, just taken the #1 slot in the WPP BrandZ Top 100 Most Valuable Chinese Brands to become China's most valuable brand, surpassing China Mobile, who's held the #1 position for the past 4 years since the study started. More Chinese PC users are moving to mobile platforms. China has 527 million mobile phone users, and many of these are playing mobile games. Tencent is China's largest and most used internet portal. It's grown to be the 4th largest internet company in the world after Google, Amazon and eBay. It has, in the BrandZ Top 100 Most Valuable Chinese Brands in 2015, a brand value worth $66.1 billion US. It brings together the functions of Facebook, Google, Twitter, Amazon, Yahoo and many more, all rolled into one. Tencent has over 30 different kinds of products and services, which are grouped under 6 categories. There's an instant messaging service and online media, as well as wireless internet value-added services. There's an interactive entertainment service, a mobile message service and an online advertising service. Some of the most popular ones include Tencent QQ, WeChat, QQ Games, QQ Mall and Tencent Weibo, which are all being used by hundreds of millions of people on a daily basis. In addition, QQ.com is also the most visited web portal in China. QQ, the company's instant messenger platform, is the world's largest online community with more than 1 billion accounts. As I said, this is a story about numbers. Tencent is not just benefiting from the larger consumer trends here in China, it's shaping those trends. Technology has overtaken finance as the largest category in the BrandZ Top 100 Most Valuable Chinese Brands for 2015. Just 3 market-driven tech and retail brands combined make up about half of the value of the BrandZ Top 10 Most Valuable Chinese Brands for 2015. Tencent, Alibaba and Baidu. Market-driven brands like Tencent are experiencing huge growth, while the growth of state-owned enterprises, SOEs, are slowing down. The Tencent brand story is one of vision, passion and astute business acumen. Pony Ma, his real name Ma Haitung, is the founder, CEO and chairman of Tencent. So who is Pony Ma, and will he have the stamina to lead his board to success in China and overseas? Pony Ma is a nickname. He is in fact Ma Hutang, now China's third richest man. His Chinese surname means horse, but unlike his flamboyant business rival Jack Ma of Alibaba, he's quiet and elusive and is only just beginning to project his own profile more openly, perhaps to compete with his colourful Alibaba rival. After all, the Chinese respond and almost expect now humour from their CEOs these days. Born in 1971, he grew up in the southern province of Guangdong and went on to study science, graduating from Shenzhen University in 1993. It was a time when China's leaders were encouraging business growth. In 1998, he and a few university friends founded Tencent with a free desktop computer instant messaging product called OICQ. Tencent later changed the name to QQ. It became a huge hit with young Chinese who eagerly wanted to communicate with each other. Analysts credit Tencent with creating the whole social networking phenomenon here in China long before Facebook came along. Last year, he took to the stage at his Shenzhen headquarters for his annual We Evolve Summit, a gathering of business leaders and IT experts. He appeared as a clean-cut guy in a shiny grey suit and pronounced, "I wanted to be an astronomer," but sadly that didn't happen. He once dreamed of setting up an internet-connected observatory so he and a friend could study the stars remotely. A colleague later did just that. But Ma's personal life is a mystery. Even Tencent analysts in Hong Kong aren't able to say definitively whether he lives there or across the border in Shenzhen, where his company is based, or indeed in both locations. Interestingly, Ma served as a deputy of the 5th Shenzhen Municipal People's Congress and the 12th National People's Congress of China. He's said to be one of the most influential people in the world and China's third richest man, with a net worth of $14 billion. His quiet business partner, Zhang Zhidong, was until recently the company's chief technology officer. Tencent launched in 1999, and within 10 months of starting its OICQ system, an early version of QQ had reached 1 million users. It had a user-friendly interface and diverse functions. But it needed more money to expand, and it attracted two important Far Eastern investors before multinational media group based in South Africa, Naspers, brought up shares too. The second stumbling block came from a lawsuit by AOL for intellectual property violation and possibly the loss of Chinese users, which led to the change of name from OICQ to QQ. Unlike other internet startups, it only took 3 years for it to become profitable in 2001. Most recent figures for the second quarter of 2014 show that Tencent has 829 million active QQ accounts, with a peak of 217 million simultaneous online QQ users. Brands like to talk about being purpose-driven, and this one really is. It wants to bring together China's largest internet community to meet and create the various needs of internet users, including communication, information, entertainment and e-commerce. Tencent watchers often credit it with being one of the first to understand the power of social media here in China and to link people as well as social media to goods and services like games and products. The cheaper Chinese phones were more affordable than the imported Apple and Samsung products, and they were sold with their apps pre-installed. This allowed more people to buy them, particularly in the lower tier markets, which facilitated the expansion of their customer base. Tencent says it will provide one-stop online lifestyle services. It now wants to take on its rival Alibaba, which, like Amazon and eBay, allows people to sell goods online. It's collaborating with the second largest e-commerce site in China, JD.com, on this. While Tencent got off to a good start, its business model was not sustainable, as it was only making money from advertising and premium users of QQ. By 2005, it was charging for the use of QQ Mobile, and it increased profits by licensing its iconic penguin character, which can now be found on snack foods and clothing. It saw early on the massive potential to sell virtual items like avatars, and by 2008, its sales of virtual goods increased productivity. It was listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange in 2004. Since then, it's made over 100 acquisitions, worth over $10 billion. It started to offer online games in 2004, often bought from Korea or Japan, but in 2008, it was also commissioning games and licensing these games itself. Now the company's portfolio includes more than 180 games, but only a few have been popular with millions and millions of users. Dungeon and Fighter is a side-scrolling online fighting game, and QQ Fantasy is a 2D online game that incorporates elements from Chinese mythology. Both are two of its immense successes. It now has added to this list the Chinese version of the Candy Crush game, a real achievement. Most of those games are free to download, and they make money by charging players for virtual items and other optional features such as weapons and decorations for their online avatars. It has also invested heavily in research and development, with campuses in Beijing, Shanghai and Shenzhen. More than 50% of its 27,000 employees work in research and development. It was at its Shenzhen campus in 2011 that it began to build a new cloud computing center, which it says is the largest in southern China. It's been designed to service hundreds of millions of users. Tencent is a business that China has grown because China competed successfully with Western technology. Even in its gaming sector, the domestic and international markets don't directly compete in most cases. Its biggest social media rivals from abroad, like Twitter and Facebook, are blocked behind China's Great Firewall. Tencent's business model differs quite a bit from that of Google, Facebook, or even its own Chinese rival Baidu, which rely on advertising. Tencent's growth is built on many microtransactions, such as charging consumers to upgrade the look of the avatar that appears on their chat service. These hundreds of millions of small transactions add up. In 2011, it bought a majority stake in US games developer Riot Games for $231 million. In May 2014, it invested $500 million for a 28% stake in Korean's CJ Games. Today, Tencent has become the biggest gaming company in China, and it's said to be the largest gaming company in the world. Tencent's net profit jumped 59% in the second quarter of 2014 as its messaging apps drove users to mobile games. Here are two innovations. Tencent's online currency, Qcoins, can be used to purchase virtual goods. These can be offbeat, such as those virtual pets and virtual clothing or jewellery, and even the cosmetics needed to customise online game avatars. Or more mundane products, such as more storage space, wallpapers, bigger photo albums and ringtones. Thank you. Tencent has created new markets. Its smartphone taxi app called Didi, which in Mandarin means honk honk, catch a cab. And it matches passengers and willing taxi drivers who are situated in close proximity. It has tens of millions of users and is one of the largest in the market. Tencent has spent millions to give special offers to its users in order to grow its market base. It's now a hit with drivers and customers, and it has helped improve the efficiency of ordering a cab too. You can hail that taxi, pay for the journey, or buy a financial product on WeChat. WeChat overseas users are well over 100 million, and it's expanding further into more international markets, but its exponential user growth is starting to flatten out. Taxi! Currently, the combined number of users for WeChat and QQ is estimated at just over 1 billion. This is only around 200 million less than Facebook's worldwide user base. The longer users stay online, the better their services are. Tencent derives 80% of its 7 billion in revenues from sales of its services. Many envy these figures. There's said to be no likelihood of restrictions being lifted on Facebook, Twitter and other Western rivals. So in the domestic marketplace here in China, it has few major international competitors. Tencent's long-term vision is to become the most respected internet enterprise. And not only is it connecting people, it's also allowing companies to experiment with their marketing strategies. Even large products like cars can be sold on WeChat. Recently, Tencent conducted a campaign with Mercedes-Benz for a limited edition of their smart car line through WeChat. It allowed the marketeers to trial the product and gain valuable knowledge of their customers from the experience. In 2006, Tencent set up its Tencent Charity Fund. It was the first charity foundation set up by a Chinese internet enterprise. Tencent says it wants to help build a more harmonious society here in China and to become a good corporate citizen. These visions are becoming a reality, but pundits warn that Tencent has to be careful not to invest too heavily in e-commerce, trying to compete with its rival Alibaba, where it's failed in the past. There is a concern that this rivalry might stop it developing new successful games. The company has also been criticised for copying. Pony Ma once said that to copy is not evil, but others accuse him of being a notorious copying king. And another potential hurdle is the crackdown and new regulations on internet users who make defamatory comments. There are new rules for firms to abide by, but Ma has said he supports order on the net. Pundits say that Tencent may find it hard to convert WeChat users abroad into profits. In China, selling smiley faces has helped it. Some advise Tencent to stay focused on its home markets, where it operates within a protected, walled garden environment, and to stay focused on mobile games. Climbing to the top of the WPP BrandZ Top 100 Most Valuable Chinese Brands for 2015 is by no means any small achievement. Tencent has gone from being a small entrepreneurial brand to being an intrinsic part of the nation where every China's interconnected consumer touches the brand several times in a day. With a success story like Tencent, it's difficult to keep your feet firmly on the ground, but it's great to see a Chinese success story from up here in the clouds.